Cowbell Kingdom TV, I'm Jonathan Santiago. With me is James Ham, and we are previewing the 2014 NBA Draft. What will the Sacramento Kings do with the number 8 pick? Will they trade it? Will they keep it? Will they trade it for multiple picks? Will they deal for a veteran? We don't know, but we will surely find out sometime later today. And, for this show, James, we decided to take questions from fans on Twitter. We thank you guys for sending all your responses and your comments. And let's just get right into it here. Let's start with a question from Daniel Yoon, who asks, how likely is it that the 8th pick and Ben McLemore gets traded for a potential star?
I don't think that's very likely, John. I think what we're looking at here is the number 8 pick is probably going to go for multiple first-round picks or a first and a second and a solid NBA veteran. Someone like Taj Gibson, someone, I don't know. There are plenty of players that are going to be made available, especially with the LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony sweepstakes heating up. We might see players that become available that maybe wouldn't be available. So I don't see star quality, but I do see really good starting level NBA player, fringe all-star type guy, but no stars.
All right, let's move on to David Flores Workman, who asks, which player in the NBA draft can address most of the Kings' needs immediately?
Well, David, this is a difficult question. I don't think any player is ready to contribute and be great from day one at the number 8 spot. I think the best possible scenario for the Kings is Aaron Gordon. He's the best quote-unquote fit next to DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay. But outside of Aaron Gordon, you're going to have a lot of guys who are going to be a little bit of projects. I do like Julius Randle as a guy who can translate very quickly to the NBA level and do some good things. But again, I think this is more of a process. I don't think anyone is going to jump out and be, again, a star on day number 1.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at players who can help the Kings in terms of skills that they have now, I agree with you. I do think that Aaron Gordon could definitely help them out on defense. If they do go the route of shooting, Nick Stauskas and Doug McDermott can certainly bring that immediately. But other than that, I mean, they're not going to be able to help much else, and they're not going to be counted on as impact players from day one. So those guys would help certain areas, and they would certainly improve certain weaknesses for the Sacramento Kings. But in terms of making a huge impact, don't put too much stock in that happening with any players at the Sacramento Kings draft. All right, Jeff Presnell asks, this is a pretty difficult question. He's very specific here, James. Shooting, defense, veteran leadership, passing. All is needed this offseason. Which should be attained in the draft?
Okay, if I'm the Sacramento Kings, if I'm going to go with those parameters, I would probably try to accomplish the deal that's been on the table that may or may not be dead with Detroit, where you're handing off a couple of players in order to get Josh Smith. That would get you defense. It would get you some shooting. It would get you some playmaking at the power forward position. I would trade the number 8 to the Orlando Magic for number 12 and Aaron Aflalo. That would take care of, again, defense and shooting. And then at number 12, I would probably look at a handful of guys, including Elfrid Payton, if he's available, great defensive point guard, and a guy who sort of translates to another level, Rajon Rondo. But that would address all 3 needs in 2-3 major acquisitions. I don't know if all 3 of those things can happen in one offseason, one draft, but that's how I would answer a complicated, specific question.
Yeah, it is tough, man. I would probably, if I'm just going to go with one, I would probably say defense. And if that's the case, then I would go with Aaron Gordon if he is available. I really do like Aaron Gordon. I think he's a guy who would be a great fit next to DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay, and potentially Isaiah Thomas if they re-sign him, because he's not a guy who needs the ball in his hands to be effective. So he would be a great fit for the Sacramento Kings, and I think he would bring some defensive intensity to this roster. And also, he's a pretty good passer as well. So he would be able to actually address some two of those issues that Jeff poses to us in his pretty complex question. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave his feedback on whether you like this format in the comments below, and you can also tweet us at our Twitter accounts, Cowbell_Kingdom. It's John Santiago and James_Ham for more feedback and comments on our Cowbell Kingdom preview show. So thanks again for joining us on this edition of Cowbell Kingdom TV here on cowbellkingdom.com.
Going, with the season, it's got to be definitely hands down the most frustrating for myself. Starting off with just not being able to control, the situation. I didn't agree.
Oh!